Lunasentinel by Edwina Longbottom. Chapter 1. A Beacon Among the Stars. In the year 2147, the moon had transformed from a celestial neighbor into humanity's second home. LunaPrime, the first permanent lunar colony, gleamed under a dome of reinforced glass and alloy, a symbol of humanity's triumph over adversity. Beneath the dome, a bustling community thrived, its people united by a shared dream of survival and exploration. Commander Elara Kincaid stood at the center of this vision. A woman of indomitable spirit, her sharp eyes surveyed the operations of LunaPrime from her vantage point in the command center. Her leadership had turned a once fragile settlement into a thriving hub of science, energy production, and even tourism. LunaPrime's helium-3 mining operations were the lifeblood of Earth's energy grid, and its ethereal landscapes drew thousands of visitors seeking a taste of the extraordinary. This particular evening, the colony hummed with activity. Scientists ran calculations in pristine labs, engineers fine-tuned mining equipment, and tourists marveled at the vast, cratered plains beyond the dome. Yet beneath the surface of this idyllic scene, a shadow loomed. In a quiet corner of the colony's subterranean research wing, Dr. Malik Chen adjusted his instruments with meticulous care. He was a man consumed by curiosity and an unrelenting drive to uncover the secrets of the moon. Recently, his research had taken an unexpected turn. Strange energy readings from the Clavius crater had ignited his imagination and unease. The data suggested something ancient and powerful lay buried beneath the lunar surface, a relic of a forgotten era. As he analyzed the enigmatic patterns on his screen, a sense of urgency began to build within him. The artifact's energy signature pulsed faintly, as though waiting to be awakened. He made a note to inform Commander Kincaid, knowing she would understand the potential implications. Meanwhile, in the colony's agricultural sector, two young technicians, Kai Morita and Maya Klein, worked side by side. Kai, a talented engineer with a knack for improvisation, had been tasked with repairing a malfunctioning irrigation system. Maya, a botanist whose innovative techniques kept the colony's food supply thriving, watched with admiration as he deftly fixed the issue. Their friendship had blossomed into something more, a quiet romance that brought light to their long days. "Think this will hold?" Kai asked, tightening the last bolt on the system. Maya inspected his work and nodded. "Looks good. Let's hope the crops agree." Their laughter echoed softly in the confined space, a rare moment of levity amidst the demands of life on the moon. Yet even here, a subtle tension lingered. Rumors of strange occurrences at the research labs had begun to circulate, and an unspoken anxiety touched everyone. Back in the command center, Commander Kincaid received a report from the colony's atmospheric sensors. A foreign object, far larger than any human-made craft, had entered lunar orbit. Her pulse quickened as she reviewed the data. It was unlike anything they had encountered before, a ship cloaked in darkness, its presence an ominous contrast to the moon's bright tranquility. The vessel, later identified as the Obsidian Spear, bore the markings of the Ragnari, a warlike alien race whose presence in the cosmos was both feared and respected. For decades, humanity had believed itself alone in the universe, and now that assumption was about to be shattered. Alarms blared throughout LunaPrime as the colony went on high alert. Commander Kincaid activated the emergency communication system, her voice steady despite the growing tension. "Attention, all personnel. An unidentified vessel has entered our orbit. This is not a drill. Report to your designated stations immediately." Dr. Chen, hearing the announcement, abandoned his lab and headed for the command center. He carried a data tablet containing his findings, hoping that the artifact's secrets might hold the key to their survival. Kai and Maya, too, sprang into action. The agricultural sector was quickly repurposed to serve as a fallback shelter for civilians. As they worked to secure the area, their resolve to protect their home and each other solidified. In the face of this unknown threat, LunaPrime's inhabitants prepared for the worst. Commander Kincaid stood resolute, her mind racing with contingency plans. She knew that survival would depend on the ingenuity and determination of every person under her command. And so, under the cold gaze of Earth hanging in the sky above, LunaPrime braced itself for a confrontation that would test the limits of human courage and innovation. The shadow of the Obsidian Spear grew closer, and with it came the promise of a battle that would determine the fate of the colony, and perhaps humanity itself. Chapter 2: The Obsidian Spear. The obsidian spear loomed in the lunar sky, a predator's silhouette against the stark emptiness of space. Its surface seemed to devour light, an abyss of matte black that defied the sparkling clarity of the moon's horizon. Inside LunaPrime, fear rippled like an undercurrent through every corridor and sector. Yet, fear was a luxury Commander Elara Kincaid could not afford. In the command center, the air crackled with tension as technicians scrambled to analyze the ship's trajectory and capabilities. Commander Kincaid leaned over the central holomap display, her sharp gaze taking in every detail. The Ragnari vessel's movements were calculated, deliberate. They had no doubt been watching humanity for some time, assessing their strengths and vulnerabilities. "We need options," Kincaid said, her voice cutting through the clamor. Dr. Malik Chen stepped forward, clutching his data tablet. "Commander, I believe the artifact we've been studying near Clavius Base might be of use. Its energy signatures suggest capabilities far beyond anything we've encountered." Kincaid raised an eyebrow. "You're suggesting we pin our survival on an untested relic we barely understand?" Dr. Chen hesitated but pressed on. "It's a calculated risk. If the artifact can be activated, it might provide us with a defensive advantage. Without it, our chances against the Ragnari are slim at best." Kincaid nodded, the weight of leadership pressing heavily on her shoulders. "Do it, but keep me updated every step of the way." Chen wasted no time signaling his team of scientists to prepare for the artifact's retrieval and study. Meanwhile, in the subterranean sectors, Kai Morita and Maya Klein worked tirelessly alongside their peers to reinforce the colony's internal systems. Electrical grids were reconfigured to support emergency power demands, and additional oxygen reserves were secured in case of an extended siege. Maya paused for a moment, brushing a strand of hair from her face. "Do you think we'll survive this, Kai?" Kai looked up from his tools, his expression resolute. "We didn't come all the way to the moon just to give up. If the Ragnari think they can take this colony without a fight, they're in for a surprise." Their determination mirrored the sentiment growing among the colonists. Though fear was inevitable, the people of LunaPrime were not strangers to adversity. Each individual had chosen this life for its challenges as much as its rewards, and now that resilience was being tested like never before. The first encounter. As the obsidian spear descended closer, it released a series of small, spider-like drones that scuttled across the lunar surface. These drones began emitting pulses that disrupted LunaPrime's external sensors, effectively blinding the colony to the ship's precise movements. In the command center, alarms blared as technicians struggled to regain control of their systems. "We're losing telemetry from the outer sectors," one officer reported. "Divert resources to the core systems," Kincaid ordered. "We can't afford to lose our internal network." At that moment, a holographic image flickered to life in the center of the room. The figure of a Ragnari commander appeared, towering and armored, its sharp features carved with an air of superiority. Its voice resonated with an unsettling calm, each word laced with menace. "Humans of LunaPrime, your defiance is noted but futile. Surrender your colony, and your lives will be spared. Resist, and you will face annihilation." Kincaid stepped forward, her jaw set. "This is our home. We won't surrender." The Ragnari commander tilted its head as if amused. "Then you leave us no choice." The transmission ended abruptly, and the room plunged into a heavy silence. Kincaid turned to her team. "Prepare for an attack. We'll show them what humans are capable of." The artifact awakens. In the lunar lab near Clavius Base, Dr. Chen and his team worked feverishly to unlock the artifact's secrets. The device was a smooth, crystalline object, etched with intricate patterns that glowed faintly when touched. Its energy readings fluctuated wildly, hinting at immense potential but also great risk. "Careful," Chen warned as a technician adjusted the device's containment field. "We don't know how it will react to direct activation." After hours of trial and error, a breakthrough occurred. The artifact emitted a low hum, and its patterns began to shift, forming what appeared to be a map of the moon's surface. At its center, a pulsing light indicated LunaPrime's location. "It's responding to the colony," Chen murmured, "as if it's protecting us." He activated a data relay to the command center. Commander Kincaid, we've managed to partially activate the artifact. It appears to have defensive capabilities, but it requires further synchronization with the colony's infrastructure. Kincaid's voice crackled over the comms. Do whatever it takes. We need every advantage we can get. The first strike. The Ragnari launched their initial assault, targeting LunaPrime's outer defenses with precision energy blasts. Explosions rippled through the colony's perimeter, and the ground beneath the dome trembled. Inside, colonists scrambled to enact the contingency plans. Kai and Maya, stationed in the engineering hub, worked to stabilize power grids and reroute energy to critical systems. Seal the western access points, Kai shouted over the din. We can't let them breach the main corridors. In the command center, Kincaid monitored the battle with steely focus. Deploy countermeasures, she ordered. Let's give them a taste of ingenuity. Hidden traps and defensive systems designed to exploit the moon's low gravity sprang into action. Lunar dust clouds, stirred by concealed devices, disoriented the Ragnari ground forces. Electromagnetic pulses disrupted their drones, causing chaos in their ranks. Though the colonists fought valiantly, the battle was far from over. The Obsidian Spear's weapons were far more advanced, and the Ragnari's relentless advance threatened to overwhelm LunaPrime's defenses. As the chapter closed, hope lay in the hands of Dr. Chen and the enigmatic artifact, its potential still untapped. The colonists of LunaPrime braced for the next wave, their resolve unwavering even in the face of overwhelming odds. Chapter 3. The Resonant Barrier. The aftermath of the first Ragnari assault left LunaPrime shaken but not defeated. Smoldering craters marked the colony's perimeter, yet the core remained intact. Commander Kincaid, standing amidst the chaos of the command center, knew they had only bought time. The Obsidian Spear hung ominously in the lunar sky, its threat as constant as the Earth's gaze above. Status report, Kincaid barked. A technician, his face pale but determined, replied, Outer defenses are compromised. We've managed to hold the western sector, but casualties are mounting. Kincaid clenched her fists. We need that artifact operational. It's our only chance. In the research lab near Clavius Base, Dr. Chen and his team pushed the artifact closer to full activation. The crystalline device now emitted a steady hum, its glowing patterns pulsating in rhythm with the moon's natural vibrations. Every adjustment brought them closer to unlocking its full potential, but also closer to the edge of disaster. It's responding to the lunar resonance, Chen said, his voice tinged with awe. If we can amplify its frequency and synchronize it with the colony's infrastructure, we might create a defensive barrier. One of the scientists hesitated, but if we miscalculate, the energy backlash could destroy the colony. Chen turned, his expression resolute. Then we don't miscalculate. The art of improvisation. In the engineering hub, Kai and Maya were neck-deep in wires and circuits, their hands moving in practiced unison. The low hum of machinery mixed with the occasional tremor from Ragnari bombardments. Power surge in the eastern grid. Maya called out, her eyes scanning a diagnostic screen. We need to stabilize it before it shorts out the entire sector. Kai nodded, grabbing a set of tools. On it, diverting excess load to the backup generators. As he worked, Maya's thoughts drifted to the larger picture. Kai, do you think this artifact can really save us? I mean, it's just sitting there. What if it doesn't work? Kai paused, meeting her gaze. It's not just the artifact. It's us. Every wire we connect, every system we stabilize. It's all part of the fight. We're not just defending LunaPrime. We're proving we belong here. Maya smiled, his words sparking a renewed sense of purpose. Together they returned to their work, the bond between them growing stronger with every crisis they overcame. A risky activation. Back in the lab, the artifact reached a critical phase. Its hum grew louder, resonating through the walls and floors, as if the moon itself was awakening. The glowing patterns expanded, forming intricate designs that seemed to depict a fusion of natural and mechanical forces. Dr. Chen placed his hands on the artifact, feeling its vibrations. It's ready, he said, looking at his team. Connect it to the colony's main power grid. The technicians hesitated for a moment before complying. Cables were linked, and data streams began to flow. The artifact's energy surged through the colony's systems, causing lights to flicker and monitors to display erratic readings. In the command center, Kincaid watched as the holomap display began to shift. A faint, shimmering field appeared around LunaPrime's perimeter, growing stronger with each passing second. Chen's voice crackled over the comms. "Commander, the barrier is forming. It's an electromagnetic shield, tuned to repel Ragnari energy weapons. But we're pushing the colony's infrastructure to its limits. If the shield holds, it will buy us time. If it fails—" "Understood," Kincaid replied. "Do whatever it takes to stabilize it." The turning tide. The Ragnari, unaccustomed to resistance from a colony so small, launched another wave of attacks. This time, their energy blasts dissipated harmlessly against the resonant barrier. The shimmering field rippled with every impact, a visual symphony of light and motion. Inside the dome, the colonists watched in awe. Hope, fragile yet powerful, began to replace the fear that had gripped them. Kincaid's voice rang out over the colony's communications system. "This is what we're fighting for. LunaPrime stands strong because of each and every one of you. Let's show them what humanity is capable of." The colonists responded with a surge of activity. Engineers like Kai worked to reinforce the barrier's connection to the power grid, while Maya and her team adapted the agricultural sector's water reserves into a makeshift cooling system to prevent overheating. The Ragnari forces, realizing their conventional weapons were ineffective, shifted tactics. Their drones began to target weak points in the dome's structure, attempting to create breaches. In response, Kincaid deployed teams of colonists armed with improvised weapons and ingenuity. Lunar dust was used to obscure the drone's sensors, and makeshift grappling devices pulled them to the ground where they could be dismantled. Kai and Maya found themselves leading one such team. Despite the danger, their combined skills and determination inspired those around them. In the chaos, they found moments of connection, glances and words that spoke of a future they were determined to fight for. A temporary victory. After hours of relentless combat, the Ragnari retreated to regroup. The obsidian spear remained in orbit, its presence a constant reminder that the battle was far from over. But for the moment, LunaPrime had won a small victory. In the command center, Kincaid allowed herself a rare moment of relief. She turned to her team, her expression both proud and weary. "Good work, everyone. But this isn't over. We need to stay vigilant." In the lab, Dr. Chen continued to study the artifact, its mysteries still largely unexplored. He couldn't shake the feeling that its power extended far beyond the shield it had created. As the colonists repaired damages and regrouped, a sense of unity began to permeate the air. They were no longer just individuals surviving on the moon. They were a community, a force to be reckoned with. Under the shimmering protection of the resonant barrier, LunaPrime stood tall. And as the Ragnari planned their next move, they could no longer underestimate the resilience of humanity. Chapter 4. Shadows of the Ragnari. The respite following the Ragnari retreat was fleeting. Though the colony's barrier had held, the tension within LunaPrime remained palpable. Repairs were underway, but every creak of the dome, every flicker of light, was a grim reminder of the alien threat still looming above. Commander Kincaid gathered her senior staff in the command center. Around the glowing holomap, the weight of their situation bore down on them. Each face reflected the strain of the past days, but also a fierce determination. "We've bought ourselves time," Kincaid began, her voice steady. "But the Ragnari are not retreating. This is a regrouping maneuver, not a surrender." Dr. Malik Chen, who had barely slept since the artifact's activation, nodded. "The artifact is holding the barrier together for now, but it's consuming energy at an alarming rate. We'll need to find a way to sustain it, or the system will collapse." Kai Morita, summoned to the meeting for his engineering expertise, leaned forward. "If we can tap into the moon's geothermal reserves, we might be able to supplement the power supply." Kincaid considered the proposal, her mind weighing the risks. "Do it. Coordinate with Maya and the agricultural team to divert non-critical resources. Every watt counts." As the team dispersed to implement their plans, Kincaid turned her attention back to the holomap. The Ragnari vessel, the obsidian spear, remained a dark blot against the stars. She could feel its malevolent presence, a predator circling its prey. The Ragnari unveiled. In the obsidian spear's command chamber, the Ragnari commander observed LunaPrime through an array of holographic displays. The alien's armored form radiated authority, and its crimson eyes glowed with contempt for the humans below. Primitive yet resourceful, the commander murmured, its voice a guttural growl. They've managed to resist longer than anticipated. A subordinate approached, bowing deeply. Their artifact is the key to their defense. It resonates with the moon's natural frequencies, creating the barrier. If we neutralize the artifact, the colony will fall. The commander's lips curled into a predatory smile. Prepare a strike team. We'll infiltrate the colony and seize the artifact. Let the humans witness the futility of their resistance. Beneath the surface, deep within LunaPrime's subterranean corridors, Kai and Maya worked tirelessly to implement the geothermal tapping project. The area was a maze of tunnels and machinery, remnants of earlier mining operations repurposed for the colony's needs. Kai crouched by a control panel, his brow furrowed in concentration. The geothermal vents are deeper than I thought. We'll need to reinforce the conduits to handle the pressure. Maya knelt beside him, her hands deftly assembling a support frame. We'll make it work. We always do. Despite the gravity of their task, the two found solace in each other's presence. Their conversations, though brief, carried an unspoken promise of a future worth fighting for. As they worked, the hum of the artifact reverberated faintly through the walls, a constant reminder of the stakes. Neither noticed the faint shadows moving along the edges of the tunnel. Ragnari infiltrators, their forms cloaked in darkness, creeping closer to their target. The infiltration. The Ragnari strike team breached LunaPrime's perimeter with surgical precision. Equipped with stealth technology that rendered them nearly invisible, they moved undetected through the colony's outer corridors. Their goal was clear: locate and disable the artifact. In the command center, alarms began to sound. Kincaid's sharp eyes scanned the incoming reports. Unidentified movement detected in Sector 12. Dispatch security teams immediately. The Ragnari, however, were prepared for resistance. Using energy-based disruptors, they incapacitated guards and bypassed security barriers with ease. Their path led them directly to the research lab, where Dr. Chen and his team were monitoring the artifact. Chen looked up from his console, a chill running down his spine as the lab's doors hissed open. The Ragnari infiltrators entered, their presence a menacing contrast to the sterile brightness of the lab. "Step away from the artifact," the lead infiltrator growled, its voice distorted by a translator. "Now." Chen, though terrified, stood his ground. "You don't understand what you're dealing with. If you tamper with it, you could destabilize the entire colony." The infiltrator raised its weapon, a jagged device that crackled with ominous energy. "That is not our concern." Before the Ragnari could act, a deafening alarm blared through the lab. A countermeasure activated by Kincaid's team flooded the room with a blinding pulse of light, momentarily disorienting the infiltrators. The tides turn. Kincaid, leading a contingent of security personnel, arrived just as the Ragnari were regaining their bearings. "Secure the artifact," she shouted, firing her pulse rifle at the nearest alien. The ensuing battle was chaos. Energy blasts illuminated the lab, and the air filled with the sharp tang of ozone. Chen and his team worked frantically to shield the artifact from stray fire, its glow intensifying as if responding to the conflict. Kai and Maya, alerted to the infiltration, abandoned their project and rushed to the lab. They arrived to find Kincaid and her team locked in a desperate struggle. "Kai, get to the artifact," Kincaid commanded. "Chen needs help stabilizing it." Kai nodded, weaving through the chaos to reach the console. Maya joined the fight, using improvised weapons to hold off the advancing Ragnari. The artifact's hum grew to a near-deafening pitch, its light casting strange shadows across the walls. Chen glanced at Kai, his expression urgent. "It's overloading. If we don't stabilize it, it'll take us all out." Together, they worked to recalibrate the artifact's energy flow. Sweat dripped from Kai's brow as he rerouted power, his hands moving with practiced precision. At last, the artifact's glow steadied, its hum subsiding into a low, rhythmic pulse. Realizing their mission had failed, the remaining Ragnari retreated, their forms dissolving into the shadows. The colonists, battered but victorious, stood amidst the wreckage of the lab. The aftermath. In the quiet that followed, Kincaid addressed the gathered team. "We've sent the Ragnari a message. LunaPrime is not to be underestimated. But this isn't over. They'll be back, and we need to be ready." Chen examined the artifact, its patterns shifting as if in response to his touch. There's more to this device than we understand. It's not just a weapon, it's a tool, a beacon. If we can unlock its full potential, it might not only save us but ensure our future. As the colonists regrouped, their unity grew stronger. Each victory, no matter how small, was a testament to their resilience and determination, and while the Ragnari licked their wounds, LunaPrime prepared for the battles yet to come. Chapter 5: The Beacon and the Message. The lab remained quiet in the aftermath of the battle. The faint hum of the artifact was a stark contrast to the chaos that had erupted only moments before. Dr. Chen crouched beside the artifact, his hands brushing over its crystalline surface. Its glow had intensified during the skirmish, and now its patterns danced with a deliberate, almost sentient rhythm. Commander Kincaid entered the lab, her expression grave. "Dr. Chen, what do we know about this thing? It's already saved us once, but we can't rely on blind luck." Chen looked up, the weight of his discoveries etched on his face. "Commander, I believe this artifact is more than just a defense mechanism. It's ancient, predating anything we've encountered on Earth or the Moon. The energy patterns it emits, they're not random. They're a form of communication." Kincaid frowned. "Communication? With whom?" Chen hesitated. "I'm not sure yet, but it's possible the artifact isn't just responding to us, it's sending out a signal." Kincaid's eyes narrowed. A signal to what? Or whom? The signal amplified. Back in the engineering hub, Kai and Maya resumed their work on the geothermal project, but the artifact's presence lingered in their minds. Kai couldn't shake the thought that they were on the edge of something much larger than survival. Maya broke the silence. "Do you think Dr. Chen's right? That the artifact is communicating?" Kai tightened a bolt on the conduit he was working on. "If it is, we need to figure out what it's saying before the Ragnari do. This thing might be the only reason we're still here." Their conversation was interrupted by a sudden vibration beneath their feet. The geothermal drill had hit a new layer of the moon's crust, and energy readings spiked on their monitors. Kai studied the screen. "This isn't normal. These readings, they're similar to the artifact's energy signature." Maya's eyes widened. "You think it's connected to the artifact?" Kai nodded slowly. "It's possible. Whatever's down there, it might be part of the same system." A discovery beneath the surface. Kincaid, informed of the unusual readings, joined Kai and Maya in the subterranean sector. Chen arrived shortly after, carrying a portable scanner. Together they examined the data, which pointed to a cavern deep below LunaPrime. "We need to investigate," Chen said. "If this energy source is linked to the artifact, it could be the key to understanding its purpose." Kincaid agreed, but with caution. "Take a small team. We can't afford to lose anyone." Kai, Mia, and Chen volunteered for the mission, accompanied by a pair of security officers. Equipped with drilling tools and scanners, the team descended into the depths of the moon. The journey was tense, the silence broken only by the crunch of boots on lunar rock and the occasional hum of equipment. As they reached the cavern, a breathtaking sight awaited them. A vast chamber filled with crystalline structures, each glowing with the same ethereal light as the artifact. Chen's scanner beeped wildly. "This isn't natural. It's a construct, an ancient network, possibly part of a larger planetary system." Kai stepped closer, his gaze fixed on the shimmering crystals. "It's beautiful, but what does it do?" Chen examined the nearest structure. "I think it's an amplifier. The artifact isn't just a signal, it's a beacon, and this chamber is designed to boost its reach." The Ragnari's next move. High above, aboard the Obsidian Spear, the Ragnari commander reviewed the footage from the infiltrators. Though the mission to seize the artifact had failed, the information gathered was invaluable. "They've activated the beacon," the commander mused, "but they don't understand its true purpose." The subordinate at their side hesitated. "Shall we attack again, Commander?" "Not yet," the commander replied, a sinister grin spreading across their face. "Let them do the hard work of unlocking its secrets. When the time is right, we'll strike." The beacon's revelation. Back in the cavern, Chen and his team activated one of the crystalline structures, sending a surge of energy through the network. The artifact in the lab responded instantly, its glow intensifying as its patterns shifted into something new, a series of symbols and coordinates. "It's a star map," Chen said, his voice barely a whisper. "This beacon, it's not just calling for help, it's pointing us somewhere." Kincaid, listening through the team's comms, spoke firmly. Where does it lead? Chen adjusted his scanner, deciphering the coordinates. A system on the outer edges of our galaxy. If this map is accurate, there could be others like us. The implications were staggering. The artifact wasn't merely a defensive tool. It was a bridge to a greater cosmic community. Preparations and doubts. Returning to LunaPrime, the team presented their findings to Kincaid and the senior staff. The discovery sparked a heated debate. Some saw the star map as an opportunity for humanity to expand its horizons, while others feared the consequences of reaching out to unknown civilizations. Kincaid listened to the arguments before making her decision. This beacon has already brought us into contact with the Ragnari. We can't ignore the possibility that it might attract others, friend or foe. Dr. Chen, I want you to prioritize understanding the artifact's full capabilities. We need to know what we're dealing with before we decide our next move. Chen nodded. I'll need more time, but I believe the artifact has only just begun to reveal its secrets. The calm before the storm. As LunaPrime worked to fortify its defenses and explore the artifact's potential, life within the colony returned to a semblance of normalcy. Kai and Maya, despite the challenges, found moments of peace amidst their duties. They often gazed at the earth above, its blue and green hues a reminder of what they were fighting for. But the shadow of the obsidian spear remained. The Ragnari's patience was a weapon in itself, and the colonists knew that another attack was inevitable. In her quarters, Kincaid stared at the star map displayed on her tablet. The coordinates glowed faintly, a silent invitation to the unknown. She couldn't help but wonder what awaited them in the distant reaches of the galaxy, and whether humanity was ready to face it. Chapter 6: A Fragile Alliance. The discovery of the star map ignited both excitement and fear within LunaPrime. Discussions of its implications rippled through the colony, with everyone speculating about the mysterious destination it revealed. While some saw it as an opportunity for humanity to expand its knowledge, others viewed it as a dangerous gamble. Commander Kincaid called for a meeting with her senior staff. The holographic star map hovered in the center of the room, casting soft light on the tense faces gathered around it. This artifact may hold the key to our survival, Kincaid began, but it also opens a door to the unknown. The question is, do we dare step through? Dr. Chen adjusted his glasses, his tone measured. Commander, the artifact's capabilities are immense, but we've only scratched the surface. If this beacon reaches others, it could bring allies or enemies. Kai, who had been invited for his engineering expertise, spoke up. If we don't act, the Ragnari might figure out the map before we do. This might be our only chance to stay ahead of them. Maya, seated beside him, nodded in agreement. But what if the beacon attracts something worse than the Ragnari? We need to prepare for every possibility. Kincaid let their words sink in before making her decision. Dr. Chen, I want you to decipher everything you can about this map and the artifact's potential. Kai, Maya, and the rest of the engineering team will focus on fortifying our defenses and enhancing the colony's systems. We'll treat this as both an opportunity and a threat. The room dispersed, leaving Kincaid alone with the glowing star map. Her fingers hovered over the display, tracing the coordinates. What are you leading us to? She whispered. The Ragnari's gambit. Aboard the obsidian spear, the Ragnari commander convened their own council. The infiltrator's failure had not gone unnoticed, but it had also provided valuable intelligence. The humans have activated the beacon, the commander growled, their voice resonating with authority. It is only a matter of time before they discover its true purpose. A subordinate stepped forward. Shall we launch another assault? The commander shook their head. No, a direct attack would only harden their defenses. Instead, we will exploit their curiosity. Let them lead us to the artifact's secrets and to the coordinates it reveals. Prepare a covert operation to monitor their progress. We will strike when the time is right. A race against time. In the research lab, Dr. Chen and his team worked tirelessly to decode the artifact's patterns. The star map revealed a system of pulsating lights that seemed to represent not just coordinates, but also an elaborate series of instructions. Every breakthrough brought them closer to understanding the artifact's purpose and its dangers. Meanwhile, Kai and Maya led efforts to integrate the artifact's energy field with the colony's infrastructure. Using the geothermal energy they had tapped, they created a sustainable power loop to maintain the resonant barrier indefinitely. "It's holding steady," reported, watching the readings on her console. "The barrier's power draw is minimal now. We've bought ourselves some breathing room." Kai leaned back, a rare smile crossing his face. "Let's hope it's enough. The Ragnari won't stay quiet forever." Their moment of reprieve was interrupted by an alert. A drone, sent to scout the cavern where the artifact's amplifier network had been discovered, had stopped transmitting. Kincaid's voice crackled over their comms. "Kai, Maya, meet me in the command center. We've got a problem." Into the depths again. The team gathered at the command center, where a live feed displayed the last transmission from the drone. The image showed the crystalline structures in the cavern, their glow pulsing erratically. Then, without warning, the feed cut to static. "It's possible the artifact is interfering with our equipment," Dr. Chen suggested. "Or the Ragnari have found a way in," Kincaid countered. "Either way, we need answers. Kai, Maya, you're heading back down there. Take a security detail with you." The pair exchanged a glance, their determination evident. "We're on it," Kai said. The cavern awakens. Descending into the cavern once more, Kai and Maya were joined by a team of 4 heavily armed security officers. The group moved cautiously, their flashlights casting long shadows on the walls. As they approached the crystalline structures, the air grew heavier, charged with an almost palpable energy. The structures pulsed faster now, their light shifting through a spectrum of colors. "What's causing this?" Maya asked, her voice hushed. Kai knelt to inspect the ground near one of the crystals. "Looks like something activated them. Maybe the artifact?" Before they could investigate further, a low rumble echoed through the cavern. The ground trembled, and a sudden burst of light from the crystals illuminated the chamber. A holographic projection filled the space, showing a fleet of alien ships traveling through the void. Dr. Chen's voice came through their comms. "What are you seeing?" Kai described the projection, his words hurried. "It looks like a history. Ships leaving a planet, traveling to different systems. Maybe it's the story of whoever built this place." Maya pointed at the projection. "Look, there's Earth." The hologram showed the alien fleet approaching Earth, then abruptly faded. The cavern fell silent, save for the team's nervous breathing. "What does it mean?" one of the security officers asked. Chen's voice replied, grim. "It means this beacon isn't just calling for help. It's marking Earth as a destination." The looming threat. Returning to LunaPrime, the team relayed their findings to Kincaid. The implications were staggering. The artifact's creators had not only known about Earth, but had actively sought it out. Kincaid's face was a mask of resolve. "This changes everything. If this beacon is a call to others, we need to decide whether to answer it or shut it down." Dr. Chen shook his head. "If we deactivate it, we lose the barrier and any advantage it might give us. But if we leave it on, we're inviting something, or someone, to find us." The room fell silent as the weight of the decision pressed down on them. Finally, Kincaid spoke. "We don't back down from challenges. We'll keep the beacon active, but we'll prepare for whatever comes our way. Humanity didn't come this far just to hide." Her words galvanized the team. They knew the path ahead would be fraught with danger, but they were ready to face it together. Chapter 7. The call answered. LunaPrime buzzed with activity. Every department was mobilized, from the engineering teams reinforcing the colony's defenses to the agricultural staff preparing emergency rations. The discovery in the cavern had changed everything. The artifact wasn't just a beacon, it was a message, a promise, or a warning. And now, the colonists had to prepare for the unknown. In the command center, Commander Kincaid stood before the holographic star map. Its glowing lines and pulsing patterns seemed almost alive, as though the artifact itself was aware of the attention it commanded. "Status update," Kincaid said, her voice sharp and steady. "Doctor?" Chen stepped forward, tablet in hand. "The artifact's signal is growing stronger. Whatever, or whoever, it's calling to, they'll receive the message soon. We've also detected a secondary frequency. It's weaker, but it seems to be responding." Kincaid frowned. "Responding? Are you saying something is already answering the call?" Chen hesitated, then nodded. "It's possible. The Ragnari vessel has remained stationary since the signal was amplified. They may be intercepting it, or someone else might be. The room fell silent as the weight of his words settled over the team. For the first time since the artifact was activated, the colonists realized they might not be alone in their struggle. A signal in the darkness. Above the moon, the obsidian spear remained eerily still, its black hull blending seamlessly with the void. Inside, the Ragnari commander stood before a console, their crimson eyes fixed on the faint signal emanating from the artifact. "It's stronger than we anticipated," the commander said, their voice a low growl. "The humans are more resourceful than we gave them credit for." A subordinate approached, bowing deeply. "Commander, we've detected a response to the artifact's signal. It's originating from a sector beyond the edge of the galaxy." The commander's lips curled into a predatory smile. "Excellent. Let the humans play their part. When the response arrives, we will strike, and the artifact's power will be ours." Preparing for the unknown. In the subterranean engineering hub, Kai and Maya worked to integrate additional systems into LunaPrime's defenses. The geothermal energy project was now fully operational, providing a steady power supply to the resonant barrier and other critical systems. "Energy levels are stable," Maya reported, her eyes scanning the monitors. "We've got enough reserve power to sustain the barrier for weeks if needed." Kai nodded, wiping sweat from his brow. "Let's hope we don't need it that long. Any sign of interference from the artifact?" Maya shook her head. "Not yet, but Dr. Chen thinks the signal might cause fluctuations as it strengthens. We'll need to monitor it closely." As they spoke, an alert flashed on their screens. Kai frowned, tapping a series of commands. "That's odd. There's an energy spike near the artifact, higher than anything we've seen before." Maya's expression turned serious. "We should report this to Commander Kincaid." The artifact awakens. In the research lab, the artifact pulsed with a brilliance that filled the room. Its patterns shifted rapidly, forming intricate designs that seemed almost purposeful. Dr. Chen and his team watched in awe as the device emitted a series of harmonic tones, each one resonating through the walls and floors of LunaPrime. "It's communicating," Chen whispered. "But with what?" Before anyone could answer, the lights flickered, and a low vibration coursed through the colony. The artifact's glow intensified, casting long, sharp shadows across the lab. In the command center, Kincaid received the report. "Chen, what's happening? Is the artifact destabilizing?" Chen's voice crackled over the comms. "No, Commander. It's responding to something. I think the signal has been received." A visitor arrives. The colonists' worst fears were realized when a second vessel appeared on the edge of LunaPrime's radar. Unlike the obsidian spear, this ship was sleek and luminous, its surface covered in shifting patterns of light. It moved with a grace that belied its massive size, and its energy readings far surpassed anything LunaPrime had encountered before. Kincaid stared at the screen, her expression unreadable. "Is it Ragnari?" "No," Chen replied, his voice tense. "This is something else entirely." The new ship hovered in lunar orbit, its presence both awe-inspiring and deeply unsettling. The obsidian spear remained motionless, as though observing the unfolding events with great interest. Kincaid activated the colony's external communication system. "Unidentified vessel, this is Commander Elara Kincaid of LunaPrime. State your intentions." For a moment, there was only silence. Then a voice filled the command center, not transmitted through the speakers, but resonating directly in their minds. It was calm and melodic, yet imbued with an undeniable power. "We are the Erendari," the voice said. "We have received the call and come in peace, but peace must be earned." A fragile meeting. The Erendari ship extended a shimmering beam of light to the moon's surface, creating a pathway that led directly to LunaPrime. Against the advice of her staff, Kincaid decided to meet with the newcomers, accompanied by Dr. Chen, Kai, and Maya. The group stood at the edge of the colony as the beam of light solidified into a corridor. Inside, a figure emerged, tall and slender, with a translucent form that seemed to ripple like water. The being's eyes glowed with a soft blue light, and its movements were almost hypnotic. "I am Lauren, emissary of the Erendari," the figure said, its voice echoing in their minds. "Your beacon has awakened an ancient pact. We come to uphold it." Dr. Chen stepped forward, his curiosity overcoming his fear. "What is this pact, and why does the artifact respond to it?" Lauren regarded him with an unreadable expression. The artifact is a creation of our kind, left as a safeguard for those who would seek unity among the stars. But it is also a test. Your actions will determine whether you are worthy of its power or its consequences. Kincaid squared her shoulders. We didn't activate the artifact lightly. We're trying to protect our home from the Ragnari. At the mention of the Ragnari, Lauren's form flickered, a sign of agitation. The Ragnari have long sought to exploit what they cannot understand. They are not your only threat, Commander. The beacon's call will reach others, some who may not share our intentions. The weight of responsibility. As the Arendari emissary departed, Kincaid and her team returned to the command center, their minds racing with the implications of the encounter. The artifact was no longer just a tool for survival, it was a symbol of something far greater. We're playing with fire, Maya said quietly as they walked. What if we fail their test? Kai placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Then we don't fail. We've come this far, and we'll figure it out. In her quarters, Kincaid stared out at the stars, the weight of leadership pressing heavily on her. The beacon's call had been answered, but it was only the beginning. The future of LunaPrime, and perhaps humanity, now rested on their ability to navigate the unknown. Chapter 8. The Test of Worth. The arrival of the Arendari vessel marked a turning point for LunaPrime. No longer isolated in their struggle, the colonists faced a new reality. They were being judged. The artifact was not just a defense mechanism or a relic. It was a trial, and failure would have consequences. Commander Kincaid convened her senior staff in the command center. The tension was palpable as the team gathered around the glowing star map. The Arendari emissary made it clear, Kincaid began. The artifact is a test, and our actions will determine the outcome. We need to show them that humanity is worthy. Dr. Chen nodded. The artifact's energy readings have stabilized since their arrival. It's as though it recognizes their presence. But what happens if we fail their test? Maya asked, her voice filled with concern. Kincaid's gaze swept the room. Failure isn't an option. We need to focus on unity, ingenuity, and resilience, the very things that brought us to the moon in the first place. The Ragnari's counterplay. Aboard the Obsidian Spear, the Ragnari commander observed the Arendari vessel with growing unease. The sleek ship radiated a power that far surpassed their own, yet the commander's ambition burned brighter than their fear. They seek to judge the humans, the commander said, their voice low and venomous. But they underestimate us. Prepare our infiltration units. If we cannot claim the artifact by force, we will sabotage their trial. The Ragnari's plan was bold, to exploit the test and force humanity to fail. By doing so, they could discredit the Arendari and seize the artifact's power for themselves. Preparing for the trial. Chen and his team worked tirelessly to decipher the artifact's remaining mysteries. Every pulse of its light seemed to convey a message, a challenge that humanity needed to understand. Meanwhile, Kai and Maya focused on integrating the artifact's energy with the colony's systems. Their goal was to demonstrate not just survival but progress, a symbol of humanity's potential to thrive even in the harshest environments. In the agricultural sector, Maya developed new methods to optimize food production using minimal resources. Her innovations symbolized humanity's ability to adapt and innovate, even under extreme conditions. Kai, on the other hand, constructed a prototype of a lunar rover enhanced with the artifact's energy field. The vehicle, designed for exploration and defense, showcased humanity's ingenuity in merging alien technology with their own. The Arendari's first test. 3 days after Lauren's arrival, the Arendari emissary summoned Kincaid and her team to a remote section of the moon's surface. The shimmering beam of light once again connected their ship to LunaPrime, creating a pathway to the trial's location. As they stepped into the light, Kincaid, Chen, Kai, and Maya found themselves transported to an otherworldly arena. The lunar surface stretched around them, but the sky above shimmered with colors that defied explanation. It was as though they had stepped into a pocket of the Arendari's dimension. Lauren appeared before them, their translucent form glowing softly. "The first test is one of unity," they announced. "Show us that your people can overcome division and work as one." Before anyone could respond, the ground beneath them shifted. Sections of the surface rose and fell, forming a labyrinth of interconnected paths. In the distance, glowing orbs of light appeared, pulsing in time with the artifact's energy. "Retrieve the orbs and bring them here," Lauren instructed. "But beware, the labyrinth will test your resolve." The Labyrinth Challenge. The team split into pairs, each taking a different path through the labyrinth. The corridors were narrow and disorienting, with walls that shimmered and shifted, creating the illusion of movement. Kai and Maya worked in tandem, using their technical expertise to navigate the maze. Mia's keen eye for patterns helped them identify traps, while Kai's engineering skills allowed him to disarm them. "I think the walls are reacting to the artifact's energy," Maya observed, as they approached an orb. "It's like the maze is alive." Kai carefully removed the orb from its pedestal, his hands steady. "Let's hope it doesn't mind us borrowing this." On a parallel path, Kincaid and Chen faced their own challenges. The walls of their corridor emitted bursts of light that disrupted their senses, forcing them to rely on each other. "Follow my voice," Kincaid said, her tone calm but firm. "We'll get through this together." Chen focused on the rhythm of her words, using them as a guide. Together they reached their orb and began the journey back to the starting point. A Ragnari intrusion. Unbeknownst to the team, a group of Ragnari infiltrators had used the Arendari's light beam to enter the trial. Cloaked in stealth technology, they moved through the labyrinth with one goal: to disrupt humanity's chances of success. As Kai and Maya navigated a narrow corridor, the air around them shimmered. Before they could react, a Ragnari figure appeared, its weapon aimed directly at them. "Get back!" Kai shouted, positioning himself between Maya and the intruder. The Ragnari lunged, its movements quick and calculated. Maya grabbed a nearby piece of broken lunar rock, using it to deflect the alien's strike. Kai, meanwhile, activated a compact energy tool he had brought for the maze, its sharp pulse sending the Ragnari reeling. "We need to move, now," Maya urged as they sprinted toward the exit. The power of unity. Despite the Ragnari's interference, the team regrouped at the starting point, their orbs glowing brightly. Lauren appeared once more, their expression inscrutable. "You have faced adversity, yet you have returned united," the emissary said. "This is the essence of your strength. You passed the first test." The orbs floated into the air, merging with the artifact's energy in a dazzling display of light. The labyrinth dissolved, leaving the team back on the lunar surface. Kincaid turned to Lauren. "What happens now?" Lauren's gaze seemed to pierce through her. "The next test will come when you least expect it. Prepare yourselves, Commander. Your journey is far from over." A time to reflect. Back at LunaPrime, the team shared their experience with the rest of the colony. The story of their trial inspired hope and determination among the colonists, reinforcing their commitment to the mission. Kai and Maya returned to their work, their bonds stronger than ever. Dr. Chen delved deeper into the artifact's mysteries, driven by a renewed sense of purpose. Kincaid, meanwhile, stood at her usual place in the command center, staring at the Arendari vessel in orbit. She knew the trials ahead would test not just their abilities, but their very humanity. The artifact pulsed softly, its light a constant reminder of the stakes. LunaPrime was no longer just a colony, it was humanity's proving ground, and the eyes of the galaxy were watching. Chapter 9: Shadows of Doubt. The quiet that enveloped LunaPrime after the first trial was deceptive. Beneath the surface, tension simmered. The colonists worked with renewed determination, but unease lingered. The looming threat of another test, and the Ragnari's covert interference, cast a shadow over their achievements. Commander Kincaid called a meeting with her senior staff. The glowing star map hovered between them, its shifting patterns mirroring their uncertainty. "We passed the first test, but this isn't over," Kincaid began. "The Arendari's trials are a test of our unity, but they're also a trap. One mistake, and we could lose everything." Dr. Chen adjusted his glasses, his tone measured. "The artifact's energy readings are fluctuating. I believe it's preparing for the next phase. The patterns are becoming more complex, almost anticipatory." Maya frowned. "Do we have any way to predict what the next test will be?" Chen shook his head. "Not yet. The artifact operates on principles we're still trying to understand. All we can do is prepare." Kai, seated beside Maya, leaned forward. "We need to account for the Ragnari. They've already tried to sabotage us once, and they won't stop now." Kincaid nodded, her expression grim. Agreed. Security measures will be doubled. No one enters or exits LunaPrime without clearance. The Ragnari's plot. On the obsidian spear, the Ragnari commander stood before a holographic projection of LunaPrime. Their crimson eyes burned with determination. The humans have passed the first trial, the commander growled. But they are vulnerable. The Arendari's tests demand perfection, and perfection is fragile. A subordinate stepped forward, bowing deeply. Our infiltrators failed to disrupt the first test. What is our next move? The commander's lips curled into a predatory smile. We will exploit their doubts. Let them question their unity. Let them falter under the weight of their own insecurities. The Ragnari's new strategy was psychological. By sowing discord among the colonists, they hoped to weaken their resolve and ensure failure in the next trial. In LunaPrime, rumors began to circulate. Whispers of sabotage and mistrust spread like wildfire, fueled by the Ragnari's subtle manipulations. Minor disagreements escalated into heated arguments, and the sense of unity that had carried the colonists through the first trial began to fray. Kai and Maya noticed the change during their shifts in the engineering hub. Tensions ran high as teams struggled to meet deadlines, and tempers flared over the smallest mistakes. "This isn't like us," Maya said, her voice low as she observed a particularly volatile exchange between two technicians. "We've always worked together." Kai sighed, running a hand through his hair. "It's the pressure. Everyone knows what's at stake, and it's starting to get to them." Their conversation was interrupted by an alert. The artifact's energy output had spiked again, signaling the imminent arrival of the second test. The second test, a trial of trust. The Arendari emissary, Lauren, appeared in the command center, their translucent form glowing softly. The artifact pulsed in synchrony with their presence, casting an otherworldly light across the room. "The second test is upon you," Lauren announced. "This trial will measure your capacity for trust, not only in each other, but in the unknown." Before anyone could respond, the artifact emitted a burst of light, enveloping the entire command center. When the light subsided, Kincaid, Chen, Kai, and Maya found themselves in a strange, featureless expanse. "What just happened?" Kai asked, looking around. The space seemed infinite, with no discernible boundaries or landmarks. "This is the test," Chen said, his voice tinged with awe. "The artifact has transported us somewhere else." Lauren's voice echoed around them. "Before you lie 3 paths. Each leads to a different outcome, but only one will guide you forward. To succeed, you must choose together, and trust in your decision." The 3 paths before the team, 3 glowing orbs appeared, each hovering above a distinct pathway. The first orb was a deep red, radiating heat and intensity. The second was a calm blue, its light cool and soothing. The third was golden, pulsing with an unpredictable rhythm. Kincaid studied the orbs, her mind racing. Each path represents a choice, but which one is the right one? Chen approached the blue orb, scanning it with a handheld device. "The energy readings are stable. This path might be the safest." Kai frowned, pointing to the red orb. "Safe doesn't mean right. Sometimes the hardest path is the one that leads to success." Maya hesitated, her gaze fixed on the golden orb. "This one's unpredictable, but maybe that's the point, trusting the unknown." Kincaid looked at each of them in turn. "We have to decide together. If we're divided, we fail." The path of unity. After a tense discussion, the team agreed to follow the golden path. Its unpredictable nature mirrored their current reality, a mix of risk and hope. As they stepped onto the path, the space around them shifted. The once featureless expanse transformed into a series of challenges, each requiring them to work together. The first challenge tested their communication. They faced a series of puzzles that could only be solved by sharing information and trusting each other's judgment. The second challenge tested their adaptability. The path shifted beneath their feet, forcing them to navigate a maze of changing obstacles. Through it all, the team relied on their bond. Kincaid's leadership, Chen's intellect, Kai's ingenuity, and Maya's intuition combined to overcome every hurdle. The Ragnari's interference. Unbeknownst to the team, the Ragnari had found a way to manipulate the artifact's trial. Using advanced technology, they projected illusions designed to create doubt and fear. As the team neared the end of the path, the illusions took hold. Shadows of betrayal and failure flickered in their minds, threatening to unravel their unity. "You're not good enough," a voice whispered to Kincaid, echoing her deepest fears. "Your decisions will doom them all." Chen saw visions of the artifact malfunctioning, its power consuming LunaPrime. "You're playing with forces you don't understand," the voice taunted. Kai and Maya faced doubts about their contributions, the voices questioning their worth and abilities. But despite the illusions, the team pressed forward. They recognized the shadows for what they were: fear, doubt, and manipulation. Together, they pushed through, their unity stronger than the Ragnari's interference. The test passed. At the end of the path, the golden orb reappeared, its light brighter than ever. Lauren's voice echoed once more. "You have shown trust in each other and in the unknown," the emissary said. "This is the essence of your strength. You passed the second test." The orb merged with the artifact, its energy stabilizing. The team found themselves back in the command center, the familiar surroundings a stark contrast to the trial they had endured. Kincaid turned to her team, her voice steady. "We're not just surviving, we're proving who we are. And we're not done yet." A new resolve. As LunaPrime prepared for the trials ahead, the colonists found strength in the team's success. The whispers of doubt began to fade, replaced by a renewed sense of purpose. The artifact pulsed softly, its light a reminder of the journey still to come. The Ragnari watched from the shadows, their plans disrupted but far from over. And above it all, the Arendari vessel hung in orbit, a silent guardian and judge, waiting for the final test. Chapter 10: The Final Test. The second test had solidified LunaPrime's resolve, but it also heightened the stakes. The Arendari emissaries' cryptic warnings lingered in everyone's minds. The final test would not only measure their strength, but define their place among the stars. Commander Kincaid gathered her senior staff in the command center. The artifact's glow pulsed steadily, casting an ethereal light on the team's determined faces. "We've come this far," Kincaid began. "The Arendari are watching, and so are the Ragnari. This isn't just about us anymore, it's about proving humanity's worth to the galaxy." Dr. Chen, holding a data tablet, added, "The artifact's patterns are changing again. I believe it's preparing for the final test. The energy levels are higher than anything we've seen before." Maya leaned forward, her expression serious. "What do we know about this test? Is there anything we can prepare for?" Chen shook his head. "No clear indicators yet. The Arendari seem to value unpredictability. All we can do is rely on what we've learned." Kai looked around the room. "Whatever it is, we'll face it together. That's what got us through the first two tests." Kincaid nodded. "Agreed. We've faced the unknown before and we'll do it again. Prepare the colony for any eventuality, and keep an eye on the Ragnari. They won't sit idle." The Ragnari's desperation. On the obsidian spear, the Ragnari commander paced before a holographic display of LunaPrime. Their patience had worn thin, and the final test threatened to slip the artifact out of their grasp forever. "The humans have proven more resilient than expected," the commander snarled. "But their resolve is fragile. The final test will push them to their limits." A subordinate stepped forward. "Commander, we've identified a way to destabilize the artifact. If we can disrupt its energy field during the test, the humans will fail." The commander's eyes glinted with malicious intent. "Do it. If we cannot claim the artifact, we will ensure they cannot either." The final test begins. As the artifact's energy surged, Lauren appeared in the command center once more. The Arendari emissary's translucent form seemed more radiant, as though the artifact's power flowed through them. "The final test is upon you," Lauren announced. "This trial will measure not just your unity and trust, but your ability to protect what you hold dear. It will push you beyond your limits, for the stakes are higher than ever." Before anyone could respond, the artifact emitted a blinding light. When the team's vision cleared, they found themselves in a vast, desolate landscape. The moon's surface stretched endlessly, but the familiar sight of Earth hanging in the sky was absent. "What is this place?" Maya whispered, her voice tinged with unease. Chen examined the ground. "It's a simulation, an environment created by the artifact. The final test begins here." Lauren's voice echoed around them. "Your task is simple. Defend this place from all who seek to destroy it. Your unity, ingenuity, and courage will determine the outcome." A test of strength. The landscape began to shift, forming structures that resembled LunaPrime. The team stood at the heart of this simulated colony as figures emerged on the horizon. At first they appeared as shadowy forms, but as they approached, their shapes became clear. Ragnari. "This isn't real," Kai said, his voice steady. "But the challenge is." Kincaid stepped forward, her tone commanding. "Positions. We defend this place like it's our home." The team worked together, using the environment's resources to create defenses. Kai and Maya rigged energy traps, while Kincaid and Chen coordinated strategies to repel the simulated Ragnari forces. The first wave was relentless, but the team's cohesion held strong. Their ingenuity and determination mirrored the qualities that had brought humanity to the moon in the first place. The Ragnari's sabotage. Unbeknownst to the team, the real Ragnari had begun their sabotage. Using advanced technology, they directed a concentrated energy pulse at the artifact, disrupting its field and causing instability within the simulation. Inside the simulated environment, the ground trembled and the structures began to flicker. Kincaid realized something was wrong. "This isn't part of the test," she said, her eyes narrowing. "The Ragnari must be interfering." Chen nodded. "If the artifact destabilizes, it could destroy the simulation, and us with it." A fight on two fronts. Back in the real LunaPrime, the colony systems detected the Ragnari's energy pulse. A team of engineers worked frantically to stabilize the artifact, while security forces prepared for a potential assault. Kai, Maya, and Chen worked within the simulation to counteract the disruptions. They used their combined skills to stabilize the environment, while Kincaid led the defense against the relentless waves of simulated Ragnari. "We can do this," Kai said, his voice filled with determination. "We've faced worse." Maya nodded, her hands moving quickly to reconfigure an energy conduit. "Together, we've got this." The turning point. As the team fought to stabilize the artifact and defend the simulated colony, the environment began to respond. The structures solidified and the waves of attackers slowed. The artifact's energy pulsed in harmony with their efforts, as though recognizing their resolve. In the real world, LunaPrime's engineers managed to block the Ragnari's energy pulse, restoring stability to the artifact. The colony erupted in cheers as the threat subsided. Inside the simulation, the final wave of attackers dissolved into light. Lauren appeared before the team, their expressions serene. "You have passed the final test," the emissary said. "You have shown strength, unity, and the ability to protect what you hold dear. Humanity is worthy." The Arendari's gift. Back in LunaPrime, the artifact's glow reached its peak, casting a radiant light across the colony. The Arendari vessel descended, its sleek form shimmering as it approached the surface. Lauren stood before the colonists, addressing them as one. "The artifact's power is now yours to wield. Use it wisely, for it is a beacon not only of strength but of responsibility. Your actions will shape your future, and the galaxy's." As the Arendari departed, the artifact integrated fully with LunaPrime's systems. Its energy became a part of the colony, a lasting symbol of humanity's potential. A legacy of resilience. In the days that followed, LunaPrime rebuilt stronger than ever. The colonists celebrated their victory, but they also recognized the challenges ahead. The artifact was not just a tool, it was a promise to the galaxy that humanity was ready to stand among the stars. Kincaid, standing beneath the dome, gazed at the earth above. "We've proven ourselves," she said softly. "Now it's time to build a future worthy of what we've earned." Kai and Maya stood beside her, their bond stronger than ever. Chen, engrossed in his research, worked to unlock the artifact's remaining secrets. And somewhere in the galaxy, the Ragnari watched, recalculating their strategies. Humanity had passed the test, but the story was far from over. The end. If you enjoyed this story, please subscribe.